Click the links, join the channel, become a member here or over at Subscribe Star. Check out the Odyssey and Rumble. Rumble's quite nice. It's just a little bit better than YouTube, but it's enough to make a big difference. And it's not like Bit Chute or Odyssey, but it is nice, and there's a lot of people over there. So James O'Keefe must have been over target after all, and Project Veritas gets the call from the puppet masters. So what happened? Well, the board at Veritas ousted O'Keefe. Veritas is a media company. They investigate things that go a little bit against the narrative, things that the regular globalist media won't investigate, and the left-wing mainstream media is constantly trying to take them down, usually by making defamatory statements that they're ultimately forced to retract, and then they print them and post them up on this wall of retraction. And, if nothing else, Project Veritas does, it's to show you how desperate the mainstream media is to control this Bolshevik narrative by any means necessary, even if their bias is clear. You look at the mainstream media now after the past few years, you never look at them again. How many examples of them getting caught out with a left wing agenda, like you have to see, where you look at MSNBC, CNN, and all the other affiliates and go, oh, this is a threat to our democracy. They're all on the same page, and they're not media companies, they're narrative companies. So James O'Keefe is the public face of Veritas. People probably assume that he owned controlling interest, and it would have been better if he had. But people don't understand the budget behind companies like Veritas or Daily Wire. And the Daily Wire Crowder thing is also interesting too, because it showed people a little behind the scenes of how controlled opposition the, in quotes, right wing is. The right wing is not the right wing is not the right. The right wing. The real right-wing, real conservatives, does not show up in search engines. You have to get those links through Gab. Like these nationals and patriot type of websites are not coming up in the search engines. Gateway Pundit comes up in the search engine because they want you to go there for a reason. They don't want you to go to some actual national media or information liberation or some of these other media companies. They don't come up in the search engine, and that's by design. So the budget behind these companies, like Veritas, Daily Wire, they're huge, and to grow faster, they take on investors. There's kind of a couple different ways companies can grow. You can start off as an individual, and you grow on your own, like a salty type, and then investors will come, and venture capitalists will come and go, hey, we want to jump in on this. We'll give you this massive infusion of cash, but we need 51%. We want to structure the board a certain way that we need controlling interest, all this kind of stuff, and they're kind of like a potential future time bomb, a poison pill, because they want control. And if you ever get too close to the target, you'll just look at the fine points of the contract, and they're going to oust you from the thing you created. In most cases, it's going to be better not to take that outside infusion of cash and just grow on your own and maintain that control, so you don't have that mission creep. So you don't have a board that has a fiduciary duty to the investors. You have like your articles, your mission is whatever your original mission was, is to present the truth. It's not to return on investment, and not to be just like con ops normie stuff. But if somebody comes up and says, here's $100 million for this media empire, there's a lot of people look at that and go, oh, well, that's a lot of money, and it is. So with things like Project Veritas, Gateway Pundit, Babylon Bee, Post Millennial, those are okay media companies for a milquetoast basic perspective, but they're con ops. They're not over the target. Their goal is to allow a spectrum of debate, fierce debate within the limited scope, but nothing outside that scope, or they'll attack you as fiercely as if they were open left-wingers. Anyone who's a millimeter to the right of the MAGA normie has seen that, where if you just slightly go after their sacred cows a little bit, or you're politically incorrect, or use language they don't like, they will sell you out and disavow you just as quick as anyone. And you look at them realistically and you go, wait a minute. Wait, you're selling out these further right-wing groups who might not be politically correct, might be a little rough around the edges, to be fair. But the moderate left-wing doesn't sell out the further left-wing groups. And the left-wing has been winning for the past 70 years. If the right-wing continues to split off the further right-wing, they will continue to lose. And then you look at this moderate right-wing, you realize, oh, that's by design. They want to lose. The ones who are conscious of it are the controlled ops aspect of it. They want to lose, and there's a lot of sheep who just kind of go along with it because they've been brainwashed through 70 years of Bolshevik media propaganda to believe in the rules of the left wing. It's like, yeah, you got to wash all that stuff off. Oh, why aren't you saying these things? Oh, because the media told me I couldn't. Okay, pretend Pretend you started washing all that off, and you're going to look to the further right and go, oh, that's the real right wing. Anyway, so these like con ops, right? They're really on the left because they facilitate movement to the left. They don't actually conserve anything. They're designed to keep you away from the real right wing, which is why when patriot groups actually do have peaceful assembly, that happened a few years ago with those patriot whatever alternative, I think is in England, and Front is in America, I think. They were like peaceful assembled group of people. It's like, this is constitutionally protected activity. What's the problem? Well, Jim Hoff at the Gateway Pundit lost his mind writing articles calling them Hugo Boss, a group, or federal glowing agents, or all this kind of nonsense. It's like, those guys were all arrested, doxxed by the police, and the Idaho jail roster released all their names. They all got doxxed. Or at least the guys at that protest, the peaceful assembly groups, all got doxxed because they weren't wearing seatbelts in the back of a truck or something. So they're public figures now. Are they still glowing federal agents? I mean, would you like to follow up that investigation? Are you going to retract that statement? Any group of guys, if they're the wrong group of guys with the wrong type of in-group preferences, then suddenly the con ops right wing come out of the woodwork and they take the mask off and they go, oh, we can't have this. Why not? Other groups advocate to advance their interests. Why wouldn't these patriot groups do the same? Oh, well, but disavow. Yeah, that's why the right wing just keeps losing. They've been losing for 70, 80 years. No, you shouldn't be losing your mind over a group of peaceful guys engaging in constitutionally protected activities just because it upset his apple cart a little bit. So had the con ops right was just panicking when those groups started to come out protesting, the story hour, the Sodom and Gomorrah type of stuff. The Proud Boys doesn't get them panicking for some reason, but the patriot groups do get them panicking. So, it's the con ops of the right. It's they want to lead you to Gateway Pundit, to the Proud Boys, to these groups that are designed to waste your time and your money and keep you distracted with this. It's like emotional fodder, but it's just empty calories. It doesn't actually do anything. You see the reaction to the Proud Boys, and they're waving around their own rainbow flags, and the right wing is just love that. And then you see like the peacefully assembled patriot groups who are wearing face masks because they don't want their lives destroyed, and they don't love that as much. Like, why not? What's going on? All this stuff really makes you think, and the con ops right does not want you thinking. They want you reacting according to their narrative. That's why they spend hundreds of millions of dollars running Gateway Pundit and Post Millennial and Babylon and Project Veritas and all these other poison pill, time bomb type of control ops. So James did a Sting interview with the big pharma guy, which is still a bunch of hot words for Google's YouTube because they have an agenda also. And I say Veritas is not usually over target, but I guess that interview in the coffee shop where the guy admitted to creating things that would be more in place in Stephen King's The Stand, if you remember that book, just nightmare compounds. And then when he got popped, he freaked out. He probably thought Big Pharma was going to Epstein him. Then the internet scrubbed all his records. So I guess that story was coming a little closer to the target. So Veritas had a 6-hour board meeting / struggle session where they kicked James out. The problem is James is a huge part of Veritas. The company will go forward. They're not going to lose all their donations, but they might have to slim down the company a bit. They'll continue for a while doing things a bit further away from the target to make the MAGA crowd happy with the own the libs, bon mots and gifts and all that kind of stuff. But they won't actually be moving the needle. James would be better off on his own or teaming up with, I don't know, Steven Crowder or David Knight or something. Whoever else is starting to awaken a little bit and wants to move closer. Ramsey Paul, I think, is on. He does a lot of these people do videos on Rumble and Odyssey. They don't do them on YouTube because there's no point. You just get kicked off of YouTube if you get a little too close to target. And if he wants to go out on his own, I suspect most of the donations will follow him because people who follow James and Project Veritas are terminally online because these are not allowed in the mainstream. So you're on Twitter, social media, they're on Gab and Twitter and all these other sites, and YouTube and I think Odyssey and Rumble as well. So people know that James is the guy who's moving the needle. It's not this like they're trying to continue without him, and they're having some guy do these interviews, and you look at that and like, you guys have just taken off the mask. You're just CNN now. I think in fact there's a guy who used to work as executive for CNN who's now working for Project Veritas. Like, okay, well, it's full mask off now. This is Like apparently James was the only real one there. Or you'll see like who else leaves Veritas to go team up with James and go set up their own media company, because it does take money to do anything. It takes some tech money, but I mean, he's got. I suspect that he'll have more energy behind him, and more donations will follow him, and will just dry up from Project Veritas. I don't even know if Veritas will be around in a few years. It's as if they got the call from someone very powerful who told them, it's better to destroy the company with 65 employees, which, could be hundreds of millions of dollars for Project Veritas, than to allow James to continue covering stories and potentially getting closer and closer to something real, where they probably really would have to start Epsteining people after that. I mean, you think about it, like they're willing to poison pill a company to get rid of some guy. Instead of, like in an ordinary company, you'd look at it and you'd be, so this guy, you say he's problem. You say they're saying all this kind of bizarro stuff. He's hard to work with. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. And probably not. He stole a lunch from some lady at work or something. He is such the face of Project Veritas. You would be better off firing everyone else who had an issue with him and just coming in fresh than firing him. Like you're destroying the company. You're cutting the company probably in half by doing this. That clearly doesn't make sense unless there's something else going on. And that interview he had 2 weeks ago with that guy at that coffee shop. Oh, gee, do you think that had something to do with it? Just a crazy conspiracy theory. Have you read The Stand by Stephen King? Because that guy was talking about those same kind of compounds, just those dystopian nightmare hell world. Who was the guy? Randall Flagg or something? It was the demon character. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, join the subscribe star, or become a member here at this channel, and I'll see you guys all next episode.